Radio Biafra International, empowering the people. Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.
Radio Biafra is proud to launch its new mobile app. This app makes it easier for listeners to access live and repeat broadcasts at any given time. The app is available on Android and Apple stores and is free to install, so just search for Radio Biafra into all one word to get the app on your device.
Radio Biafra International broadcasts are always anchored on well-researched information and not based on personalities, frivolities, and foul languages. The main objective of Radio Biafra International is to empower Biafrans and give them knowledge through professionally delivered information, education, and enlightenment towards the ultimate goal of restoration of the nation of Biafra.
So don't forget, Radio Biafra into all one word.
And join us during our podcasts and you'll be glad you did.
Stop spending time with the wrong people. Life is too short to spend time with people who suck the happiness out of you. If someone wants you in their life, they'll make room for you. You shouldn't have to fight for a spot. Never ever insist yourself to someone who continuously overlooks your worth. And remember, it's not the people that stand by your side when you're at your best, but the ones who stand beside you when you're at your worst that are your true friends. Stop trying to be someone you're not. One of the greatest challenges in life is being yourself in a world that's trying to make you like everyone else. Someone will always be prettier. Someone will always be smarter. Someone will always be younger. But they will never be you. Don't change so people will like you. Be yourself, and the right people will love the real you. Stop trying to hold on to the past. You cannot start the next chapter of your life if you keep rereading the last one. Stop being scared to make a mistake. Doing something and getting it wrong is at least 10 times more productive than doing nothing. Every success has a trail of failures behind it, and every failure is leading towards success. You end up regretting the things you did not do far more than the things you did. Stop getting involved in relationships for the wrong reasons. Relationships must be chosen wisely. It is better to be alone than to be in bad company. There's no need to rush. If something is meant to be, it will happen at the right time, with the right person, and for the best reason. Stop rejecting new relationships just because old ones didn't work. In life, you'll realize that there's a purpose for everyone you meet. Some will test you, some will use you, and some will teach you. But most importantly, some will bring out the best in you. Stop trying to compensate against things that are not there. And stop trying to compete against everyone else. Don't worry about what others are doing better than you. Concentrate on beating your own records every day. Success is a battle between you and yourself only. I just have to repeat this. This warrants a repeat. Stop trying to compete against everyone else. Don't worry about what others are doing better than you. Concentrate on beating your own records every day. Success is a battle between you and yourself only. Life is too short to spend time with people who suck the happiness out of you. If someone wants you in their life, they'll make room for you. You shouldn't have to fight for a spot. Never ever insist yourself to someone who continuously overlooks your worth. And remember, it's not the people that stand by your side when you're at your best, but the ones who stand beside you when you're at your worst that are your true friends.
Jamasa 2020. I take champion of Bakola when on the rock before you became with you. Because what is the same, we must have coronavirus money before one. Before they see about holiday now, what can you get the idea? I want to know before you became with you.
Biafra International, empowering the people.
Good morning, my fellow Biafrans. Good afternoon and good evening. All of you who are listeners, are wonderful listeners all across the globe. This is Radio Biafra International, brought to you by its parent body, Biafra Restoration Movement, BRM. You can get us through different platforms such as the internet, the Facebook, YouTube, RBI app, Tuning app, and we are on satellite. So you can be also connected through certain phone numbers, and for the details, you can simply Google Radio Biafra International, and you will be able to, either on your phone or on the computer, and you'll be able to have access to those very important information. Today is Saturday, September the 12th, 2020. And as usual, before we get started, we will pray. We are Israelites, and we have a covenant with God, which we must keep. And we do pray to our God for everything that we do. We are a very spiritual people, not just, like religious. No, we are spiritual people. And we must do this because our life and our very existence, our past, present, and future are tied to it. So let us pray. Our Father and our God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the one true God, discovered by men who truly seek you, who hunger and thirst for righteousness. We worship you, exalt you. We commit our efforts into your hands. We bring to you, O Lord, our thanks, our exaltation of your name. For you are God, the beginning and the end, the Alpha and the Omega. Lord, we commit Biafra into your hands, the issues of our freedom. And we call on you to arise. We call on you to come to our help. Bring us your salvation, O Lord. Deliver us from exploitation, oppression, and death. Father, we know that it is true that those who call on you, that you will answer them. May our people walk in humility. May they eschew all manner of unrighteousness, all manner of idolatry, purify themselves, so that when you grant us this freedom, we can be able to live it out and to glorify your name before this whole world. Praise be to the Lord, the God of Israel, because he has come and has redeemed his people. He has raised up a horn of salvation for us in the house of his servant David. In the house of his servant David, as he said through his holy prophets of long ago. Salvation from our enemies and from the hand of all who hate us, to show mercy to our fathers, and to remember his holy covenant, the oath he swore to our father Abraham, to rescue us from the hand of our enemies and to enable us to serve him without fear, in holiness and righteousness before him all our days. Because of the tender mercy of God, by which the rising sun will come to us from heaven, to shine on those living in darkness and in the shadow of death, to guide our feet into the path of peace. Amen This was read from Luke chapter 1, verse 68 to 79. My name is Odi Moalu, and I'm your broadcast anchor today. And we will be having our panelists, usual guests. Sometimes we might have new ones who will be contributing to this broadcast to help in the work of informing, educating, and persuading our people. And all those who are listening towards the acceptance and the commitment to truth, which is very essential for peace, for development, and for the attainment of noble objectives towards humanity. Today, we will broadcast for 2 hours and 30 minutes. So we will be ending this broadcast by in the next 2 hours and 30 minutes, depending on your time. And we want to get straight into the issues of the day, which we want to highlight. Now, today we will look on a 5-part series, of article titled "Justification for Resuscitation of the Sovereign State of Biafra." This title is very in alignment with the objectives of the Biafran Restoration Movement. The justification for resuscitating the sovereign state of Biafra. That is the justification for the restoration of the sovereign state of Biafra. And we will look at this from these 5 series articles that was published in Vanguard News by our brother, a very learned professor of philosophy from the University of Lagos. His name is Douglas Anele. He's an intellectual and he has a PhD in philosophy. It's well read. And he's also experienced. By the time you hear his writings, you will agree with me that he's talking not just out of erudition, but out of experience. So I'll start with the first one. It says, the title again is Justification for Resuscitation of the Sovereign State of Biafra. 1. Published Sunday, August the 9th, 2020 in Vanguard News by Douglas Anele. And I read, in the last 3 weeks, I attempted to answer the deceptively simple but pregnant question: was the amalgamation of northern and southern Nigeria in 1914 a mistake? The nuanced conclusion that emerged at the end of my inquiry was that although the amalgamation was very beneficial to Britain and northern Nigeria, it was hugely disadvantageous and stifling for the Igbo, the Yoruba, and their southern neighbors. Britain configured the country in a manner that gave northern region more landmass than the eastern and western regions combined. More significantly, the colonial master kickstarted the entrenchment of Fulani Caliphate colonialist domination of political power at the center since independence by handing power over to Sir Tafawa Balewa, a move that retarded the developmental aspiration of southern peoples. According to Emefiele Ezani in his thought-provoking book entitled In Biafra, Africa Died, the diplomatic plot. There is abundant evidence for the conviction, especially amongst Igbo, that had the former Eastern region been allowed to exist as an independent Republic of Biafra to this day, it would have rivaled, probably surpassed Singapore or South Korea and become the pride of the Black race. Of course, due to the tremendous support Nigeria received mostly from Britain, Russia, Egypt, and Spain, Biafra was defeated after about 3 years of hard fighting that cost over 3 million Biafran lives. In this connection, only an emotionally frozen person will read about how Britain and a few countries actively participated in the genocide against Biafrans without being morally appalled that such wickedness was condoned by the same countries that fought tenaciously.
Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.
Yes, this is not the account. All we want is Biafra people. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. Oh Lord, my God. Oh Lord, my God. We need our freedom. We need justice to reign. We need our freedom. We need justice to reign. Killing and fighting everywhere. We need justice to reign. Justice everywhere. Brothers do not know his brothers. Let us keep our hands together as one. Justice to reign. Oh Lord, my God. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra.
Well, then I can't go beat.
All we want is freedom.
I am here calling you, oh Lord, praying to you, singing to you, oh Yahushua, because they made us slaves in our own land. I can remember once upon a time in the Bible where the Israelites used songs and prayers to play down the wall of Jericho. This is the kind of miracle we need for our freedom. We know you can answer us as you answer Israelite the days of their slavery in Egypt. They might shoot us, they might kill us. Bloodshed everywhere. Give us Biafra, give us freedom. Oh Lord, Yahushua, I call upon you.
My God. Oh Lord, my God.
Okay, my fellow Biafrans, sorry for that interruption. Sometimes it does happen. We have technical difficulties, and that is as a result of external attacks, external telecommunication attacks and aggression that should help us understand that we have attacks not just physically, but even through the waves, through the media, through every kinds of ways, which those who do not want freedom, those who do not respect human rights, those who do not want peace, which they attempt to forestall the bead of the oppressed, of the captives, of a very immoral political, social, and economic system, to their bid to escape from such bondage. So I'll continue. I'll step back a little bit with this article. According to Emefina Ezani, in his thought-provoking book entitled In Biafra, Africa Died, The Diplomatic Plot, there is abundant evidence for the conviction, especially among the Igbo, that had the former eastern region been allowed to exist as an independent republic of Biafra to this day, it would have rivaled or probably surpassed Singapore or South Korea and become the pride of the black race. Of course, due to the tremendous support Nigeria received mostly from Britain, Russia, Egypt, and Spain, Biafra was defeated after about 3 years of hard fighting that cost over 3 million Biafran lives. In this connection, only an emotionally frozen evil person will read about how Britain and a genocide against Biafrans without being morally appalled that such wickedness was condoned by the same countries that fought tenaciously to safeguard Europe from the madness of Adolf Hitler and Benito Mussolini. But then, history is replete with such monstrosities, a testament to the fact that human beings can manifest a level of bestiality unmatched by any other creature on this planet. As a continuation of my critical engagement with the present political uncertainties in Nigeria, I will present arguments to justify the quest for the resurrection of a sovereign Republic of Biafra, which, mutatis mutandis, means that such reasoning can only be used to support the quest for self-determination by any ethnic group or collection of interconnected ethnic groups in the country. Now it is clear to those who value justice, equity, and truth that the way Nigeria is structured and governed at the moment is very unsatisfactory and cannot work because there are serious congenital abnormalities in her DNA, which will require radical genetic engineering to correct. The most popular proposals in this regard, namely restructuring an Igbo presidency project for 2023, are cosmetic and do not address the root causes of our problems. Only confederation or peaceful dismemberment can resolve the perennial national question on a long-term basis by providing the foundation upon which geographically contiguous and historically culturally related ethnic nationalities can build viable countries for themselves without being asphyxiated in a highly centralized administration dominated by members of another ethnic group. Those still insisting dogmatically on one Nigeria are poor students of history, either benefiting from the current gravely flawed system or are intellectually dishonest and lacking in creative imagination. Ultimately, two things will happen. Either the Fulani, with the support of Britain and multinational companies involved in lucrative contracts in Nigeria, would eventually succeed in their planned conquest of the whole country, or neither area will break into a few independent countries that might later decide to form a confederation of nations. Most Nigerians who genuinely think that it is time to jettison the British colonial amalgam for either confederation under a new name like Songhai or complete dismemberment are afraid to state their views publicly due to the repressive attitude of the Buhari government to serious criticism, no matter how justified or well argued such dissenting opinions might be. Nevertheless, for those that genuinely cherish democracy despite its shortcomings, any country in which leaders use authoritarian methods to prevent citizens from freely expressing well-argued opinions, including views that not only criticize the leaders themselves, but also question the foundations on which the country was built, is unworthy of genuine patriotism from the people. The essence of democracy, according to the Viennese-born British philosopher Karl Popper is the opportunity it offers for healthy critical debate and non-violent periodic replacement of one set of people running the government with another. Implicit in the Popperian theory, therefore, is the to determine their political future, including the demand for self-determination if existing political arrangements are not delivering security and well-being to them. This leads us to consider the so-called hate speech bill, which according to media reports, stipulates an outrageous fine of 5 million naira for anyone convicted of the offense. It is disgraceful that members of the National Assembly, who ought to protect the basic freedoms of Nigerians, and top government officials like Lai Mohammed, whose vituperations against previous administrations can be classified as hate speech in line with the new bill, would introduce and support such a horrible piece of legislation, cloned from the obnoxious Decree 4 of 1984. The main danger with the bill is its inherent arbitrariness and openness to abuse by those in power, given that what they might consider as hate speech could as well be a bold, unadulterated statement of fact by critics. As I adumbrated a moment ago, Lai Mohammed and many politicians supporting the hate speech bill would have been in serious trouble if such a law was in place during Jonathan's presidency. Besides, they should realize that no government in the world has ever succeeded in stifling completely people's rights to freedom of speech. It follows that the legislation is unnecessary and out of tune with democracy, properly so called. Given the ephemeral nature of power, sometime in the future, there might be victims of the rubbish they are championing now. Freedom of speech without fear of reprisals by government is a basic right of civilized human beings. To be clear, the bill is in question cannot stop responsible Nigerians from speaking out against bad government policies and actions. How is responsible democracy possible without freedom of speech? Sentiments aside, and ignoring the tiny percentage of Abateke politicians, together with their cronies across the top social strata, reaping handsomely from the colonial contraption and clamoring for the continuation of one Nigeria, it is obvious that the country is a depressing example of contemporary Black man's failure in nation building. Justification for resuscitation, which is restoration of the sovereign state of Biafra, part 2. The next article was published in August the 21st, 2020, a Friday, to be exact. It is as clear as daylight that so-called Nigerian leaders have failed to create a viable nation since the end of British colonization. As a result, the country has staggered haphazardly from one incompetent government to another, dominated by Northern Fulani with the support of Lakis from other parts of the country. British colonial administration put Nigeria on the path of diminishing leadership potential or capability when it mischievously handed power at the federal level to a scion of the caliphate whose merit-destroying northernization program set the stage for mediocrity and quota system that have been crippling the country since 1960. The late icon of African literature, Professor Chinua Achebe, put his finger squarely on this aspect of decadent Nigerian leadership when he wrote, quote, nations enshrine mediocrity as their modus operandi and create the fertile ground for the rise of tyrants and other base elements of the society by silently assenting to the dismantling of systems of excellence because they do not immediately benefit one specific ethnic, racial, political, or special interest group, unquote. No one in his right senses would question the correctness of Professor Achebe's diagnosis of main trouble
empowering the people.
Yes, this is not the matter of debate. All we want is Biafra people.
All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. Oh Lord, my God. Oh Lord, my God. We need our freedom. We need our peace to reign. We need our freedom. We need some peace to reign. Killing and fighting everywhere. We need some peace to reign. Troubles everywhere. Brothers do not know his brothers anymore. Let us keep our heads together as one. Peace to reign. Oh Lord, my God. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra.
Lord, and I can't beat.
All we want is freedom.
I am here calling you, oh Lord, praying to you, singing to you, oh Yahushua, because they made us slaves in our own land. I can remember once upon a time in the Bible where the Israelites used songs and praises to let on the wall of Jericho. This is the kind of miracle we need for our freedom. We know you can answer us as you answer Israelite the days of their slavery in Egypt. They might shoot us, they might kill us. Bloodshed everywhere. Give us Biafra. Give us freedom. Oh Lord, Yahushua, I call upon you.
My God. Oh Lord, my God. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom.
Oh, what that DJ and the master 2020. I take a piano back on a when on the love before you became with you. Because when I stay safe, we must have coronavirus money from one. Before they say about holiday now, what can see that day? I want to know before you became with you, baby.
Radio Biafra is proud to launch its new mobile app. This app makes it easier for listeners to access live and repeat broadcasts at any given time. The app is available on Android and Apple stores and is free to install, so just search for Radio Biafra into all one word to get the app on your device.
Radio Biafra International broadcasts are always anchored on well-researched
On our broadcast from our enemies, from those who want to serve the purposes of British imperialism and Fulani imperialism in Nigeria. The very reasons why Africa is in the mood that it is, in a mood where it's been ravaged mass of land, raped and exploited people who had been remained in this form of suppressive state for nearly 500 years now. And not just 500 years, I think it extends to 1,400 years. Or if we are to look at the Arab exploitation of Africa and how it affects Africa even up till today, if we are to add that time, it will be about 1,400 years. But then the exploitation and ravaging of Africa was joined by the Europeans 500 years ago. The Arabs have remained 1,400 years. And it's important that Africans generally know this so that they can begin now to organize and work on how to protect their continent as a people, African people. It is their sovereign right to keep their land. It is their natural right to keep their rights and to ensure that the fundamental human right, which belongs to them as human beings, are respected, particularly by these external invaders who make several incursions simply for their appetite, their beastly appetite to acquire resources in terms of mineral resources, natural resources, human, the most important of the human resources. As we are all aware, in the past 500 years, by the account of the very Europeans who engaged in transatlantic slavery, about 14 million Africans were moved from the African continent, mainly from the west coast of Africa, within a space of 450 years, to go and work and build the economies of Europe and the Americas. Today, Africans, the descendants of these people, are still marginalized in different communities and nations and countries where they find themselves today. The United States is not an exception. And the one that is happening in the United States is already very well known. So how do we correct this? That should be the question that the elite in these nations should ask themselves. Where is their humanity? Where is their fear of God? What should be the way to correct it? Where are the necessary intellectual discussions and exchange regarding this? We do not find that as we should. These nations should sort of revisit their foreign policies, internal and foreign policy, towards descendants of Africa and Africa itself. That is how it has to be done. There needs to be some amendment in policies that simply have no human face, where you take the resources and you don't care about the people, where you have leaders placed as proxy to give you access to resources, while the vast majority of the people in those lands suffer. And they die because the opportunity to even develop, the opportunity to make their lives better is denied them by virtue of bad leadership that is actually influenced and placed there by even pre-colonial foreign powers who have maintained their colonial and neo-colonial influence as well on these nations. This is how Africa would be free. The rights of Africans needs to be respected. We do not need to keep human rights only for ourselves. And I'm talking to the powers, the world powers. It does not make them a civilized people. Civilization is not simply because you beat somebody up and then take his stuff, then you become a bully. Civilization doesn't mean that when you take property that belongs to someone else, you become a thief. So why is there no shame to this? Where is the humanity of Western Europe and descendants of Western Europeans? We have a lot of them too who are speaking up, but there are those who are blind to this. And we want to appeal to the human conscience on this, that they think of this, because the records are there, that Africa has been pillaged. Here, people have been so treated inhumanly for the past 500 years in the hands of Europeans, for the past 1,400 years in the hands of Arabs. And today we have Arab descendants who came into Nigeria 400 years ago, who have decided to continue this oppression. And they are called the Fulani people and the Kanuri people, who are mixed with the Shua Arabs. And what do they want? To suppress, to conquer, to exploit others. Now they are taking lands and killing people. This is a value system that is inhuman. This is a value system that is objectionable. This is a value system that is despicable, that is evil, that should not be ever consented to by any civilized human being on the face of the earth. It must be outrightly condemned. I will continue with the article by Douglas Anele. As I told you before, we do have interruptions due to external attacks. So please bear with us. But we will succeed in being able to disseminate this very valuable information to the world. Even as at now, we know that in Nigeria, the crescendo of insecurity seems to rise. The risk to human lives is just rising every day. Even as the very government itself, hijacked by the Fulani, is now used as an instrument of genocide. So to get back to Douglas Andenle's article, I read further. After years of conquest and deceit, Lord Lugard extended British rule to the areas named Nigeria by his wife Laura Shaw. Details of how Lugard and a small contingent of soldiers with Maxim guns subdued autochthonous communities, seriatim, which would have made any reasonable Nigerian think twice about one Nigeria, have been presented in many well-written books in Nigerian history. The crucial point to note at this juncture is that Lugard's amalgamation of the Northern and Southern Protectorates on January 1, 1914 is the most important event in Nigerian history. But why did he do it? Answer: because Britain wanted to shift the financial cost or burden of running Northern Nigeria from our treasury to the South, which has consistently demonstrated its economic viability through lucrative commerce and industry. And we can see that still happening today. Resources from the South being used to support the North. And what do you get from the North? Violence, killing, taking the land from the South. Taking the land from Northern Christians as well, because this is a religious issue. I'll continue. Again, a unified administrative framework was more convenient and in tandem with British intention of maximum exploitation of the human and material resources in the colonial contraption. However, in creating Nigeria, Lugard and his cohorts ignored or underestimated the potential for instability due to the multiple plural nature of their new creation. The foundation could not carry the load placed on it, which caused the edifice to collapse about 6 years after independence. This pachydermatous tendency and insularity to inconvenient facts was even more evident in the responses of British officials to the North's persistent rejection of closer integration with the South. For instance, during the Constitutional Conference held in 1953, Northern Nigerians advocated a constitutional structure which would give the regions the greatest possible freedom of movement and action, and a structure which will reduce the powers of the center to the absolute minimum. Incidentally, what the North demanded was remarkably similar to the main thrust of the Aburi Accord that Lieutenant Colonel Yakubu Gowon refused to implement 14 years later in 1967. Moreover, after Alhaji Tafawa Balewa became prime minister, the dominant faction of the northern ruling elite changed its position and started insisting on a highly centralized union. In order to maximize the advantages of existing emirate system, British officials created an unbalanced geopolitical structure which gave rise to the myth of a monolithic northern Nigeria, that occupies over 2/3 of the country's landmass, much bigger than the eastern and western regions combined. And because northern political leaders often use the threat of secession to get concessions from colonial administrators and from their southern counterparts, passionate about the unified Nigeria, the North actually got more than half the seats in the post-independent parliament. Evidently, the tripod created by Britain was flawed. The regional parties that emerged therefrom ensured, as Max Sialung rightly puts it, quote, that ethnic conflict was only a matter of time away. On the one hand, colonial administrators wanted the North to control Nigeria, since the traditional ultra-conservative system there was more amenable and congenial to manipulation, even after independence might have been achieved. But Southerners, especially the Igbo, were rebellious. They led the nationalist movements that gained momentum in the 1930s and 40s. The main reason why Sir James Robertson did not give the post of prime minister to the more qualified Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe, whose party came first in the 1959 general elections, but opted for Alhaji Tafawa Balewa instead, was because the British hated the uppity Igbo for uncompromisingly rejecting British colonization and their relentless battles against it. Additionally, the Igbo are Republican, highly competitive, and assertive, attributes that are quite different from the unquestioning submissiveness of typical Northerners to their emirs. Of course, the British and their Northern friends would not have succeeded without the acquiescence of some leading Southern political figures. From the foregoing, it can be deduced that Nigeria was not founded by the British as a result of genuine desire or altruistic moral inclination to create a great black nation whose achievements could potentially refute conclusively the white supremacist argument that black people are inferior to the white race. Rather, she was created mainly to cater for Britain's economic interests. The justification for resuscitation of the sovereign state of Biafra. 3. This was the third part published by Douglas Anele on Sunday, August 23rd to 2020, the Vanguard News Service. I continue. Accordingly, Sir James Robertson, the last colonial governor general, ensured that political power at the center was eventually handed over to Northerners so that the British could continue to exert influence on her puppets from a distance. A persuasive case can be made that for very bad reasons, colonial officials were biased in favor of Northern Nigeria to the detriment of the South and Nigeria as a whole, which was why Sir Tafawa Balewa was chosen as prime minister instead of Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe or Chief Obafemi Awolowo, who had intellectual sophistication and executive experience as premiers of their respective regions to govern a newly independent, complex geopolitical construct like Nigeria. The same colonial favoritism of the North is probably the reason why the British establishment knighted two frontline Northern politicians, Ahmadu Bello and Balewa, but did not extend the same honor to Azikiwe and Awolowo. Now, from the perspective of Southern Nigeria, the benefits of Lugardin amalgamation pale into insignificance when juxtaposed with the violence and destruction unleashed on the people by the colonizers, coupled with the socio-political disruptions and psychological trauma which resulted from the process. The same is partially true for Northerners, except that after independence, their military-civilian elite began to reap more and more benefits from the Northernization policy of Balewa, instigated by the colonial administration, and from over-centralization of political power inaugurated by the military coup of January 15, 1966. The second reason for Biafra, which can be distilled from the first, is the complex multiple plural nature of Nigeria. But this time around, I wish to focus more on religious differences, especially between the Muslim North and the Christian South, with the understanding that there is a significant population of Muslims in the South and of Christians in the North. In the mind of typical Fulani Muslim, Southern Muslims belong to the inferior category of Muslims. The incredible diversity of the more than 250 ethnic groups and subgroups with the different cultures, languages, and lifestyles is compounded by the huge difference in outlook between Christians and Muslims. Brought to limelight on October 27, 1999, when Governor Ahmed Sani Yerima introduced Sharia law in Zamfara state. In recent years, Fulani Caliphate colonists, whose philosophy of conquer and Islamize is in tandem with the core objectives of Boko Haram, Miyetti Allah, and other Islamic terrorist organizations, are working really hard to impose Islam throughout southern Nigeria. Only few Southerners knowledgeable in Islamic scriptures know that prominent members of the dominant Fulani power bloc consider it their Allah-approved right to lead the country and spread Sharia nationwide. As adumbrated in remarks credited to Al-Haji Ahmadu Bello 12 days after independence, to the effect that Nigeria should be the estate of their great-grandfather, Usman Danfodio, with the rest of the country serving as a tool to maintain Fulani hegemony. Unfortunately, Southern politicians and the elite in general are not taking the encroaching Islamization, which has gathered more speed since 2015, very seriously. And it might be too late to reverse the trend once it crosses the Rubicon, so to speak. There is no country in the world with a huge population of Muslims and non-Muslims that can boast of stable constitutional democracy. Because whether the Muslims control or do not control the levers of political power, they cannot stop until Islam becomes the state religion. Besides, the Quran and the Hadith are fundamentally radioactive to modern democratic governance, since they stipulate the Sharia is the absolute Allah-ordained law to guide the rulers and the entire community, and prescribe extremely harsh measures, including gruesome capital punishment, to ensure compliance. In this connection, the ruling Muslim cabal in northern Nigeria have always used religion as an instrument of political domination, thereby making politics at the center inherently unstable, divisive, and very acrimonious. This explains why Major General T.Y. Danjuma led a band of bloodthirsty northern soldiers, tacitly supported by Lieutenant Colonel Gowon, to brutally murder Major General JTU Aguirre to ensure that Northerners took back power and dominate the army. An action that kickstarted the succession of military coups executed by Northerners for Muslim Northerners. Some might say that Gowon and Danjuma are Christian, but Christian military officers from the Middle Belt have always been beholden to their caliphate overlords, in accordance with the Sardauna's Fulani Supremacist proclamation referred to earlier. Hence, it is not surprising that one of the leitmotifs in all the crises that have reared their ugly heads since the foundation of Nigeria are religious riots in which hundreds of Christians of Igbo extractions are still being killed in the north. Lord Harcourt and Lord Lugar made a big mistake by not considering the propensity of Muslims to seek to lord it over non-Muslims before deciding to bring the North and South into one amalgam. Any assessment of the periodic eruption of secessionist agitation in the former eastern region since 1967 that does not reckon with the religious factor is fundamentally incomplete. For all its weaknesses, liberal democracy is better than theocracy, let alone Islamic theocracy under Sharia. And given the fundamental republican nature of traditional Igbo society, anchored on the democratic principle of autocracy, and that an overwhelming majority of the Igbo are still Christians, despite aberrant Islam orientation of political carpetbaggers like Ojus Okalu, Rochas Okorocha, and lately Hope Uzodinma, I predict that the people will resist the Islamization project with everything they have. Personally, of the three Abrahamic religions, I detest Islam the most. If resuscitation of Biafra will prevent Islamization of Igbo land, then let Biafra come. One of the most important reasons for endorsing the quest for Biafra is the horrible experiences of Igbo, and by extension, the former Eastern region in Nigeria. Most educated Nigerians from outside Igbo land, in particular, often employ facetious acrobatic arguments to deflect the point made by Professor Chebe that Nigerians will probably achieve, quote, that Nigerians will probably achieve consensus on no other matter than their common resentment of the Igbo, unquote. Chebe might have hyperbolized the actual situation, but there is no doubt that the weight of interethnic suspicion and distrust is heavier on Igbo than on any other ethnic group in the country. People from other areas outside Igbo land often pretend not to know that the preeminent position of Igbo in our national life before the revanchist coup of July 29, 1966 was more the result of the adventurous and can-do spirit of a typical Igbo man than the outcome of government official favorable to the Igbo. Right from time, the quota system has been implemented in a manner that favors the North. Unfortunately, the success of Igbo has engendered what Professor Achebe described in Igbo as equolo, or deep resentment, born out of jealousy in Nigerians from other ethnic groups, especially the Hausa Fulani and the Yoruba. The Igbo partially share the blame for this. Some of the successful ones are too arrogant and exhibitionist, although these weaknesses, to be candid, are universal among human beings across cultures and ethnicities, and do not warrant the depth of dislike towards the Jews of Africa. That said, the simple truth is the Igbo are hated by other ethnic groups out of envy and jealousy for being successful against all odds. Despite the fact, correctly noted by one of the foremost Nigerian historians, Professor Tekina Tamuna, that the Igbo are the makers of modern Nigeria. Due to the hatred, the Igbo have been by far the victims of all the riots, pogroms, and bloody religious uprisings that occurred in the North, including the Jos and Kanu killings of 1945 and 1953, respectively. The Maita Sine riots of 1981, the beheading of Gideon Akaloka, masterminded by Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, 1995, the Kanu riots of 2000, Miss World riots of 2002, Yelwa massacre of 2004, the cartoon of Prophet Muhammad crisis in 2008, post-election violence 2011, killing of Biafran protesters in several places in Igbo land from late 2015 to February 2016, the murderous Operation Python Dance 2017, and several others. Without a doubt, the greatest evil the rest of Nigeria had visited on Igbo and her immediate neighbors that constituted the defunct Biafra occurred during the Civil War and few years afterwards. This is the third part of this article. The fourth and fifth we'll be able to look at in the next broadcast. So I would like commentary from our panelists. I would like commentary from Chuksi Kedigwe, our wonderful brother Chuksi Kedigwe, if he's there. If I can be connected to him to speak up regarding this, after which we will look into certain current events.
Okay, thank you, Mazodi. Thank you, Great Bear France. Thank you, our wonderful listeners. And welcome to another special broadcast from the People's Favorite Radio Station. Here we are issue-based, and that's why we're dealing on an issue today: justification for the restoration of a sovereign state of Biafra. This is a wonderful topic. I must pay you for that, and I must tell Douglas Anene, the writer, has really given it a big shot. Okay, and it's very good because most of people do not really know why we ask for Biafra. They just think is what people who are jobless do, because that's what they will tell you. Because you are jobless, that's why you are fighting to restore Biafra, and then they'll keep going to tell you that Biafra will never come. Just like that article was saying about the resentment of anything that has to do with Biafra or Igbo as far as Nigerians are concerned. But it's very good we go fundamental to look at some things that's happened in Nigeria to know, to bring up a lot of things. We must understand one thing: the Igbos or the Biafrans weren't the first people to ever ask for succession in Nigeria. They weren't. Before Igbos started asking for succession, before the Igbos ever asked for it, somebody has asked for Araba. And Araba means it's an Hausa word for separation. So we weren't the first. And this is very important that people understand this. So that you tell all these accusers, all these our naysayers, whenever they raise it, that we weren't the first. People had actually wanted it. So if they've actually wanted it before, then I'm here to tell you that it's not a wrong thing. It's not a bad thing. Okay? Secession has been let me rather use self-determination. Self-determination has been applied global all over the world. So it's not a bad thing. And then some people you discover one thing about Nigeria: the Igbos and the Biafrans are always victim of state-sponsored terrorism. We must not look away from that fact. I've had people say try to make excuses for the killings of our people. No matter what you do, even if there's no terrorism tag, they will still find a way to kill you wherever you are rallying. We've rallied in a student school field. They've had reasons to come there to murder our people. We've even been in our homes. They've come there to kill our people. As in, if there's a Muhammad cartoon anywhere in the world, drawn anywhere in the world, our people will be the ones to be killed. Why? These are state-sponsored terrorism. If there's a beauty pageant, we'll be the one to die. Anything that happens, even when Israel bombs Palestine, Igbos will have to die. And what crime have we committed? What have we done to merit this kind of killings? And our people must understand that this is not an ordinary killing. Now they don't just wake up to kill us. No, it's a state-sponsored terrorism against our people. And the earlier our people wake up to this reality, better for us. But if we think it's It happens at interval. No, it's not. It has been happening right from 1947, and it continues to happen because we've been mad. Because the state of Nigeria actually hates our people. According to that report, you see that there's no other way Nigerians can have an agreement. The only agreement most likely Nigerians will have is the agreement to hate an evil man, to hate the Biafrans, and has been happening. These were before the British left. These were things they concocted on these northerners in Nigeria to be careful of these Igbos, raise they sponsor terrorism against them, kill them at every right opportunities, and they've never looked back. They've made sure they've been accomplishing it, and after each accomplished, no no what is it called? No research will be made about the killing. No inquiries will be made. It will just cause even the one who, even when they open a panel of inquiry to look into the killing, at the end of it, the result will not be released. Even when it's released, the recommendation will not be attended to, and it keeps happening and happening and happening, and our people keep being deceived into thinking that it's a screwed thing, that it's not the government for one reason or the other. We must understand these issues, and we must make it. We weren't the first to start asking for self-determination, and we won't be the last, because one thing is that we are justified in our actions. We mustn't also forget that if self-determination is bad, Buhari shouldn't have gone to the United Nations to ask for it, for the Islamic territory of Palestine and Southern and Western Sahara. He asked for it. He said that people should not be blockaded. And what do we have there? We are blockaded by this government. Our fundamental human rights are denied us. When we gather, even the constitutional allowed right to associate, to gather, no, they won't allow us. They will find one reason or the other. It's either to tell you that the DSS was carrying a convict operations, and they came into where peaceful people have gathered. And the same DSS, the same Nigerian agency, cannot even carry covert operation to discover who are the sponsors of Boko Haram that are killing the Igbos. They cannot carry out such covert operation to discover who is funding the Fulani herdsmen that are murdering our women, killing our farmers, making children orphans. They can't. It's only whenever they see the Igbos, because we are peaceful. And that's what I'm telling you, we must wake up to these realities. There comes a time in a man's life where he has to choose between doing the same thing that's contributed to his nemesis, or to wake up and realize that this society does not like a peaceful person. They want the person that's armed, because when you arm, they will call you for negotiation. It's time our people understand this fact. We open our eyes to these realities. So from every area you look at it, our call for the coming of Biafra is justified in all ways. We've suffered so much. We've been victim of their state-sponsored terrorism, and now they initially they used to do it with codedly, but now they are so this thing about it that they can now label the Biafrans, the indigenous people of Biafra, as terrorists, and then make reasons for you why their own people who are murdering people cannot be terrorists. We mustn't forget something like I keep saying, that IPOB is not just about an organization or a group. Everybody from that region have indigenous person of Biafra. So we're all affected by that tag. All our journalists, everybody mustn't lose faith about. We must know that fact. They may have a different intention, but that is exactly the action they took. They tagged us all of us. They tagged us, everybody from that region, terrorists. And most of us are making excuses for them, supporting them, or what have you. I'll never support any man that kills my people for any reason. Even if I have a reason for my brother. When you touch a madman is when you know that madman has a friend. Even when my brother is misbehaving, don't touch him for me. Allow me, I'll be the one to this. But if you go and start killing him, I will come and I will never support you. So even if our people who are supporting the murdering of our people for one reason or the other, that is stupidness of them. They must understand that after killing our brothers, after killing those that the government have actually grouped now to be murdered, they will come after all of us. They will come after those hailing them today. That's why it's paramount that we speak out and speak out and speak out and speak out, even when we are speaking what we need to speak out against the injustice done our people. Now they're making our people to take northern regions, states from the northern region, just because of that quota system. Thank God that that report exclusively talked about the quota system. This quota system are embedded, and they are corrupt this thing embedded to screw the nation against our people. You have to work so hard because you're from Anambra State before you can get admission in those unity schools or any other. You have to work so hard. That somebody from the north will just get 9% and he's there in school. At the end of the day, he's being healed, and you that is suffering. These are not the kind of nation that we must bequeath our children. Our children unborn, because they will ask us questions, Father, where were you when this injustice started? And that's why we must all work together to make sure that we bring a sovereign state at once, that this nation, that this injustice stop, or that this constitution that's made us second class citizen in Nigeria is repealed. By all means, we must do it, and our people must wake up to those realities. This is not time to be lazy. This is not time to allow the evil ones to sweet talk you, because that's what they do. They will sweet talk into supporting them. 3 years 3 years ago, some of us were so foolish to go to Ojota, thinking that they were fighting for us. They gave us that the fuel was so much at 80 something naira that we should fight. And most of us went there fighting, thinking we were with people. We can now see areas, it's not about the nation, it's all about them. Those people that fought at Ojota, they've crossed over now. What is happening? They cannot even allow you to talk again. Hate speech is now the thing. They had during the time they were fighting at Ojota, they had freedom of speech, but now they can't. And that's why people must understand that after, it's all about benefiting them. They can't they must we must stop allowing them to sweet talk us, because their sweet talk comes in different ways, and they don't allow you to keep them back. That's why they introduce things like karma laws, health speech bills, waterway bills, Roga laws, and the rest of it. It's all about their interests, are all pushing their interests. But when we of our own interest is not giving any thought. What about the interest of our children yet unborn? No. And that's the way it will be. The only thing that will separate us is to fight for the restoration of Biafra. Because as far as I'm concerned, Nigeria has made it a policy to murder our people, to kill our people. And while they are killing us, they are still labeling us terrorists. And then some of us will make excuses for them. Those must stop. In fact, at a time, I must understand something, that there's something very bad is happening in Nigeria. We discovered that the Northerners, they make sure that even the terrorists among them don't get killed. After they are arrested, they would say they are radicalizing them and what have you and what have you and what. These are people that have handled gun, okay? They radicalize them and send them back to the society. These are foot soldiers that they are training to make sure that they use in fighting us. Because in terms of war, those who have handled arms and ammunition in the past that become heroes because they can do it very well. Unlike us that must start learning the process of handling it. It's these people who have introduced barbarism, who have gone through barbarism as a barbaric act of killing the innocent, that they become a terror. And this is exactly what the North is doing. So in terms of when there's crisis, when they actually activate their jihadist Islamic agenda, they'll be able to fight for them. This is exactly what happened. Our people must also wake up to understand that. And I think it's time that we stop even killing the bad people, as in those we refer as the bad people among us. Maybe those who are they may be criminals are the this. We shouldn't forget something. Bodike, when hard something happens, we'll start looking for DK. So society that even understand this thing must stop killing those who they may see as evil people. What we should do is to take them to our deities to swear to stop that their evil actions against our people. But killing them is no way because a time will come when we need them to be able to face these radicalized terrorists that Nigerian government are gathering, saying very well, taking to schools abroad, giving them more this in order to fight us when the time comes. We must understand this. It's time for our people to get it right. We cannot get it right if we keep thinking that what's happening is an isolated case. They are not isolated case. They are very well planned, very well organized strategies that are being implemented gradually, heading for somewhere. It's very unfortunate. Even the killing of Ghana from this, let me just deviate. Even killing of Ghana from Tiffy Land, who has defended his people when he discovered that it was being used against his people, we open our eyes to the reality that they want to take out everybody who can fight them when the time comes. Why they are keeping their own people who are will be their foot soldiers? Biafrans must wake up and understand the plans of this Islamic terrorist government that we have. They can make case for self-determination for Islamic strangers in all over the world. They cannot do the same. They cannot apply that the same situation to their Christian countrymen in food. No, they can't. For them, for a Christian to be free from their grip is terrorism. It's 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 terrorism. What else? It's secession. But when it happens to the Muslim all over the world, Palestine and the rest, no, it's very heroic act. Ah, we must understand this. We must we must work towards freeing our people. And moreover, I just thank Douglas Anene for this wonderful piece. It has really been great article that most of us must understand right now. Douglas Anene is a lecturer in Unilag, so we must understand where it's coming from. For a lecturer, a senior lecturer for that matter, to be telling you this and justifying it tells you that he has really taken a look into this and he's come to that final bus stop that there's no way, and most of us actually know it. There's no more justification for one Nigeria. It's only this thing that I can do it. And I must also forget the last time I checked, he's even an atheist. He doesn't believe in God. And for him to be telling that among all the Abrahamic um, religion is Islam that he hates most, it tells you something that he has researched about it. He knows that these people, their aims is their aims. They don't care about any other person. They only use others as a tool to achieve their purpose. And we must not allow people to use us as a tool to achieve their own purpose. If not, best way for us to get our own freedom so that we can stay aside and govern ourselves. Very important. We must understand that our ways of life are not the same with these people. Our ways of life do not have us wasting of blood, and these people are bloodthirsty, ready to strike at any point in time to kill, to pillage, and to destroy. And the only way we can stop those destruction is to make sure that we fight for a restoration of the sovereign state of Biafra. Only Biafra can free us now. And Douglas Anen has taken a this thing, he has justified, and most of us have even done that before now. So we must understand this. We must recognize that the coming of Biafra will be a big celebration for us. And it's important that we understand the reasons for the justification. So I thank you for this wonderful piece. As we continue in it, let us um, get one or two things. Thank you.
Thank you so much, dear brother Chooks Ikedigwe, for that analysis and to support what Chooks Ikedigwe just said. I want to read an article of current events, very important for everybody to pay attention to. This is on Vanguard, where it says, and to explain something, we're using to our listeners, we're using Vanguard News most cases because Vanguard News is where you have different opinions being actually published in Nigeria. The rest of the newspapers are so taken by either nepotism or favoritism, or one way or the other. They do not. They are not neutral in publication. You see, and this is very important in journalism. That your publishing house for any area, when your neutrality, actually shores up your reputation. Your neutrality, because people know they can come in there and speak their mind. It is that quality is very cardinal because it has its foundations on the freedom of speech, and one of the very important values and rights that are the pillars of a democratic society. So, and this is the issue of freedom of speech. So a newspaper cannot be saying that we're journalists, but you don't want to publish something you don't like because it's on the other side of the divide. No, you have to be able to, and the issues of Biafra seems to be blocked to be the issues of Biafra seem to be excluded from the from most newspapers in Nigeria, most national dailies in Nigeria, and we don't like it. The issues of Biafra also, and those opposing Biafra, are being published in Vanguard. So it makes it the number one media, newspaper media, news media, not just news media station in Nigeria. And it is very, very obvious. So we acknowledge that. We acknowledge the efforts of Vanguard newspapers, and we acknowledge his stance in ensuring that it is neutral and that it upholds the values and ethics of proper journalism. So I'll read here where it says in Vanguard News, titled "Leaders to Mobodo: Southeast Governors Are Weak. Stop Defending Them." This is Sunday, September 6, 2020, by Anna Yokoli, Chimobi Mwiwu, Kochukwu Alaribe, and Chinonso Alozie. I feel so happy reading my people's names. Now, it says, former governor of Old Anambra State, Senator Jim Nwobodo, has come under attack by some Igbo leaders for defending Southeast governors. Nwobodo has said the Southeast governors should not be branded weak for not acting swiftly over the attack by security operatives on IPOB members in Enugu State recently. Leading Igbo elder and Nigerian statesman Chief Bazilika Amechi, Chief Ozan Ekwe, and rights activist Emeka Umeagbalasi disagreed with Nwobodo, saying that the Southeast governors acted cowardly. Quote, "What I am saying is that the Southeast governors are not acting with enough boldness in the matter. I was in a joint meeting of Ahanes and Igbo and Southeast governors at Enugu. I was personally in the government house where we agreed on a thing and it was not implemented. Then they went and formed the one they had with the Inspector General of Police, the IGP. The man told them they were going to form joint security outfit. And I keep asking how they would form a joint police outfit that will be supervised as Inspector General of Police, who has allowed the Fulani people to carry guns and kill Igbos in their place. How do they expect the same IGP to head their own vigilante? How can it work? They are acting without wisdom in that respect and without enough Igbo courage. They should be courageous enough to have their vigilante without external control. If they cannot do it collectively, because they have now taken Imo State individually, take into Igbo interests into consideration. They are killing your people every day, and they are not doing anything somebody is talking about acting with caution. I did not say they are cowards. I said they acted cowardly. They acted without enough courage. They are acting like jellyfish. That is what I said, and I stand by that. I made lamented. For Comrade Emeka Ume Abalasi, quote, I totally agree with him. The Southeast governors are weak and uncoordinated. They act as if they are agents of the ruling Islamic oligarchy, exposing the lives and liberties of their own people and endangering the territorial security and safety of Igbo land. Is not the best they should do. The truth of the matter is that the Southeast governors must sit up, otherwise they will be attracting the wrath of their own people. On the MNA massacre, they, especially the Enugu governor, acted cowardly. Chief Ozane, the former President General of Onitsha Market, Amalgamated Traders Association, Almata, took exceptions on the manner the governors handle security issues in the zone. The governors have no answer to the security lapses in the Southeast that has led to the killings by the herdsmen and security agents in the Southeast. They are not using the security vote given to them to protect the people they are meant to protect. They are collecting security votes. They are not utilizing them to provide security for the people, rather to impress the powers in Asorok and for lining their pockets. That security vote is money given and collected by governors to protect lives and properties of the people. It is supposed to be used for prevention of crime, to protect lives and property. The governors are supposed to take proactive measures before crimes are committed. And that is the essence of having security reports. Unless they are telling us they are using their security votes for things other than security. Chief Jim Nwobodo should remember that he was the former governor of Anambra, Ebonyi, and Enugu states put together as then old Anambra state. Now, we have 3 governors for the states, yet they cannot protect their people. But Nwobodo, as only governor for old Anambra, now 3 states, was able to give the people security. How can 3 governors wait until a crime has been committed? They will now act. And Ekwe said. Also, the Igbo National Council, INC, has criticized the governors over the handling of the MNA incident and called on the people of the Southeast to begin a ballot revolution against the political leaders in their zone. NC President Chilos Godsen accused the Southeast governors of paying more attention to the authorities in the North more than their own people. They are very cowardly. They are more of a puppet to the caliphate and the northern oligarchy. The people should be able to determine who their governor should be, not allow them be imposed by the northern caliphate. However, the chieftain of the Pan-Igbo Social Cultural Organization of Hanese, Prince Richard Ozo, aligned with Senator Nwobodo, saying the governors should not take hasty decision without being briefed with the facts of any situation. I read Chief Jim Nwobodo's statement on the matter. He was right. I will quote again. There's people on different sides of the issue, but the issue is very clear here. So I don't know what Prince Richard Ozo is saying that makes sense, or Jim Nwobodo is saying that makes sense. That there is no security in this state is a fact. That Fulani people are encroaching on people's land is a fact. That they're killing and raping people is a fact. In terms of there, where is the security? And these people are not indigenous to the land. They are foreigners. They came in there. And they cannot live peacefully with the people whom they came into their land. They are rather destroying their sources of economic sustenance, destroying, making movement hard because they attack you wherever, on the roads, kidnapping people and extorting money from people using ransom. They shooting people to death, randomly, massacring villagers, destroying churches, cars, vehicles, everything. So the fact of insecurity is there. What are the governors doing? The governors are rather subservient to the Fulani Caliphate that has hijacked the federal government. And I tell my people it's because they don't fear the people. They need to fear the people. Because anybody who can stand there as governor and not represent his people does not understand what his responsibilities are. What is your responsibility as a governor? The first thing you do, just like as every government, is to protect the lives and property of the people. Once something is challenging it and you can't protect it, please, you can resign. Nobody has forced you to be governor. Being a governor does not mean you own the people or you own the state. You are just an individual on your own. You came there because you offered yourself to serve the public. And if you don't want to serve the public and you cannot do it, the very sensible thing to do is to go and find something else and do. There is nothing wrong with that. Just say, well, I can, but to stay there, to forcefully stay there and defy the calls of the people to maintain their security means you are challenging our people. You are saying our people that you can defy them and bring enemies to kill them and work with enemies to kill them, and there's nothing is going to happen. And that's why I say they don't fear the people. Excuse me. They need to fear the people. They don't have the fear of God in them, obviously. How can someone have the fear of God be walking in full and need to kill his people? You say, oh, they are promising you second term vice president, all those kinds of nonsense. How are those more important than the protection of your people? They are using that promise as a way to make you open up your people to be killed and ravaged. And I have said it before. We have said before on Radio Biafra International, RBI, that the main problem here comes because for a human being to act, it is what he thinks that motivates him to act. We all act based on what we think. So go to the Fulani mind. What is making him act? Go to the Kanuri mind. What is making him act? It is Islam. If you look into history, it's the same thing. That they don't have respect for life. Hence, they treat them like that. People will respect them when they go to predominantly Christian countries. You don't see Muslims just being slaughtered. But the next is that they start, is because of what they are taught. Their minds are poisoned to believe that you are not supposed to live, but they are supposed to live. They're supposed to conquer you, take over, Islamize everybody. That you must be a Muslim. That's what the religion teaches. And you all can agree with me. If you're sensible enough, if you have your mind intact, that thing is not a religion. It is a cult. Because a cult will use force. A cult will use coercion. A cult will use intimidation. A cult will use terror to make you abide by their rules, to make you abide by their objectives and aims. That is what a cult does. So this is an open cult that has lasted 1,400 years, that is started by Muhammad ibn Abdullah in Saudi Arabia. It is very clear. What else are they asking for? Why is it that Muslims can go to other countries and set up mosques, but you cannot go to Islamic countries and set up Christian churches? You cannot. There is no freedom of religion in their countries. The Christians, whoever exists where they are under heavy persecution, like in Egypt. Go and read about it. So there is something wrong with this. It's not that we hate Muslims. No, you don't hate the people. We hate what is driving them. What is driving them? There is nothing about God related to it. I mean, the God that created the heaven and earth. As far as we are concerned, what is driving them has no semblance of godliness at all. I mean, in the sense of the God that created the heaven and earth. Well, they give you examples sometimes. They say, oh, well, that in the Bible, the Israelites fought for the promised land. Okay, they fought for the promised land. This was about nearly 3,300 years ago. That's when they fought for their promised land, isn't it? 3,300 years they fought and fought. But were Israelites imperialistic? Did they go conquering other lands? Did they go conquering? So 3,300 years, they have not been killing anybody. But to you, for 1,400 years they existed, it is killing, looking for people's land, taking it over, and claiming that Allah, which you believe is God, commanded you to do that. But when other people kill you, if they adopt that same thought process, you begin to cry out. And you do horrible things, like you see ISIS, they cut off people's head and so, like they don't have their own heads. What stops people from rounding muscles and cutting off their head? It is not hard to do. It is not hard to do. That is why we know that these people are motivated by bestial tendencies and instincts, very subhuman instincts. And this is what we are resisting here. So this is not preaching of hatred against Muslims. This is hatred of what drives them. And if what is driving you is causing people's death, and to stop it might taking you out, it is very correct to do so. Because in any society, if somebody is going around killing people, what do? When somebody kills somebody in another, that's called murder. In most legal systems, what they will do is sentence you to death. Period. So you have sentenced yourself, and the Fulanis and the Muslims who believe in it have sentenced themselves to death by killing innocent. It's as simple as that. It's as simple. That's a simple logic. Why should Mobodo be speaking out for these people, for the governors who are failing their people? Why must Mobodo be speaking out for? Mobodo had to challenge Bazooka Mechi. I want to also read something that Bazooka Mechi said. Let me repeat that because it's very, very important that we pay attention to this. Bazooka Mechi was a former First Republic Minister of Aviation, and he he's a nationalist. These are people that fought for the freedom of Nigeria, and most of his ministers, he's really almost the last surviving one of the nationalists, we had, and he spoke out here. He said, and I want to quote him again. He says, on the way the Southeast governors have been acting on issues of security and protection of the people of South. What I am saying is that the Southeast governors are not acting with enough boldness in the matter. I was in a joint meeting of Ahanes and Dibo and Southeast governors in Enugu. I was personally at Government House where we agreed on a thing and it was never implemented. I'll repeat it again. I will repeat the phrase again. It says, I was personally at Government House where we agreed on a thing and it was never implemented. What was that thing? Regional security. And the Fulani Inspector General of Police, the Fulani Caliphate, they are using him to intimidate the governors, to get the governors to also deceive them not to make it happen because they want to keep us vulnerable to their attacks. That is the thing. The regional security will mean that that region is secure. That's why it's regional security. Yes, because it will be effective. We don't want it at all because they want our people vulnerable to their attacks. So he says here, I was personally at a government house where we agreed on a thing and it was never implemented. Then they went and formed the one they had the Inspector General of Police. See, the man wants to be there, so to make sure that you will never secure yourself. But this IGP is not stopping the Fulani from killing people. They're even sending their policemen is now run by Fulani. Every security is now run by Fulani people in the Islamization campaign. They send them to kill innocent people who are violating no rights of any others or laws. People who simply because they're exercising their right to assemble, they're exercising their right for even self-determination, they're exercising their right to the expression of their views and their opinion, they're exercising their right, exercising the right to religion, and some of our people are being locked up in different places in Nigeria and being killed secretly, tortured and killed secretly in different parts of Nigeria. We hold the Fulani establishment responsible for that. We hold those police commissioners, we hold Muhammad Buhari responsible for that, we hold all the people who are working with him on this issue for that, including those who are sabotaging our own freedom. It is our right to fight for our freedom. Because Fulani people are free, by the way. They won't be doing this if they're not free anyways. Yes. So if somebody wants to take another person's freedom, it's very important that to understand that it needs to be stopped. That is what makes for a civilized society. I'll continue to read this further. He says, the man told them they were going to form a joint security outfit and keep asking. And I keep asking, how would they form a joint police outfit that will be supervised by the same IGP who has allowed the Fulani people to carry guns and kill Igbos in their places? The same IGP who has allowed this Inspector General of Police is a man, Damu is a terrorist. This government is a terrorist government. That's what they are. Because Buhari is a member of Mietiala. Mietiala in the terrorist index, international terrorist index, is classified as the fourth worst terrorist organization in the world. And the president of Nigeria is the patron of that organization. That means he's a terrorist. We have a terrorist government. So this IGP is a terrorist in uniform. And there are a lot of them who are terrorists that are in uniform in the military. They should be seen as such. That is why those who support them are also our enemy. If you are one of us, you are our enemy. It's as simple as that. Why should our people be killed for exercising their right? And you have some of us who are busy calling for people to stop exercising their rights, thinking that by caving into evil, you will make it better. And you cave into evil, cave for one thing, you will take two. If you cave into two, you will take 10 the next moment. That is what is happening to us. So this idea of caving into the devil should not to end. Where is God? If you claim you know God, you all go to churches on Sunday, don't you? Don't you? What about that God you're worshiping? Are you worshiping the devil? Why is it that when evil happens, you don't stand up against it? Why? What is wrong with you on that issue? Why don't you stand up against it? You don't understand that how a society decays or gets destroyed is by looking at something that you know that is wrong that happened, and you don't take a righteous stand on it. The moment it grows, and it grows out of proportion. It happens all the time. So I go for that. He says here, I'll repeat again. So the man told them they were going to form a joint security outfit. And I keep asking, how would they form a joint police outfit that will be supervised by the same IGP who has allowed the Fulani people to carry guns and kill Igbos in their places? How do they expect the same IGP to head their own vigilante? How can it work? They are acting without wisdom in that respect and without enough Igbo courage. They should be courageous enough to have their vigilante without external control. If they cannot do it collectively, individually, they should take Igbo interests into consideration. They are killing your people every day and they are not doing anything. And somebody's talking about acting with caution. I did not say they are cowards. I said they are acted cowardly. They acted without enough courage. They are acting like jellyfish. That is what I said, and I stand by it. It's in Basilika Ameti, former First Republic Minister of Aviation, in Vanguard News of Tuesday, September 8, 2020. And we love Ambassador Ameti for that. And please, could somebody caution Jim Nwobodo, if you are his relative or whatever, you are his friend, caution him on his stance on this. How can you? The governors are the prime problem with our people. The governors of the Southeast and South, they are the number one problem of the people. Don't tell me somebody can just intimidate you to kill your people and you accept it. You are not worthy and you don't deserve that position. You don't deserve leadership. And these things will go down in history. Because tomorrow somebody wants to write that you are such a fantastic governor, you did this and did that. No, we will put down what you have done exactly. How you opened our people up to Fulani attacks, to their worst enemies, to attack, to ravage them, to kill them, to destroy them, destroy their properties, present terrible insecurity for them, destroy their sources of livelihood, which is their farming, terrorize them. You were working with them actually and doing that. So you are actually a terrorist to us too. That's what these governors are to Southeast people. They are terrorists. People talk about, something was prescribed. I have said it here before. We all know what is right. There are unjust laws. When the law is unjust, don't obey it. It's as simple as that. Because why would you prescribe an organization that has not killed people? An organization that's acting within the ambits of the law, that is exercising its fundamental human rights. Why? But you don't prescribe those who are killing people. You rather set them free, and you want us to abide under that law. You want us to abide under a constitution that was a forgery by Abdul Salami Abubakar. These are people who should be arrested, put on handcuffs, all of them, and prosecuted and jailed. But we are all in a jungle, and we know that. The jungle that calls itself Nigeria. And because of that jungle nature That doesn't mean we should all subscribe to jungle justice or to subscribe to jungle legal system, because that's what Nigeria is doing. And Nigeria, like we said, the government has been hijacked by the Fulani and Islamic jihadists. Recently, the American commander, the head of the American command in West Africa, an officer, military officer, spoke of the incursions of the Al Qaeda and the ISIS, which are already in northern Nigeria, but now, driving down towards the north, mounting a campaign towards the south, to conquer the south. So this, we have, only God knows how many terrorist organizations there are in that contraption now. So it is unsalvageable. The country is unsalvageable. The decay has continued for too long. We acknowledge this, the middle belters who have come down to the east and have apologized for the role of their fathers in the 50s and 60s in Nigeria. We acknowledge that, and we love that. These are the proper steps to take. We know that there are multiple extensions in the middle belt who are Christian, and even in the north, because like I said, 40% of Borno State, where the Boko Haram has its headquarters, 40% of them are Christians. There are people they are killing. Where is Chibok? That they have to take Chibok because this is in Borno State. So they are Christians. When they get them, they forcibly rape them, basically, force them into becoming Muslims, rape them and make them have bases for them. What kind of ideology is this? What kind of ideology is this? An ideology that supports rape, an ideology and then you call it a religion? Give me a break, please. That's the same thing that Muhammad did, took a 6-year-old girl, married 13 women. Most of them were women from those he slaughtered and took by force, not willingly, and his followers did the same. So what is this type of evil sexual gratification? And this is of God? You say this is of God? Is your mind correct at all? So this is what we are telling people to face. It is not preaching hatred against Muslims. We are just, what is right, and what is wrong is wrong. And let me tell you the truth. Every human being has conscience to determine right and wrong. That's what God did for you. It put it in there for you to recognize that this is wrong and this is right. Don't say you don't know. You know. It's better to acknowledge, okay, I am there because I under duress, you are coerced to do something. Yeah, the punishment for apostasy or for leaving Islam is death still. So that means that it's a religion which the followers and the adherents are forced to be there. They are there by force, and you don't think there's something wrong with it. I think faith is a matter of belief. For somebody to believe something, you need for him to actually do that willingly, not by force. And when it comes to force, because force, will you really say he's believing it? Or it's you that is believing for him? Your belief is something you do personally, unwillingly, of your own volition, not out of duress or compulsion from anybody. And once that happens, it loses its justification as something that is fair. This is justification as something that is unadulterated. But you can see that this type of ideology that's claimed to be a religious ideology is completely contaminated with certain doctrines that are unconscionable, simply unconscionable. And the people who are followers say, oh, don't question it. You cannot question. If you question it, I'll kill you. When somebody says if you question something then that's why you know that thing is wrong in the first place. Because if it wasn't wrong, why are you forcing that belief on people? Why must you force it? It just doesn't make sense. Why must you force people? And so we're saying that the governors are opening up our place to be vulnerable to attacks of foreign invaders who are the Fulani terrorists. That's what they are, Fulani terrorists. And it's appalling that somebody like Mobutu should ever speak in favor of these people. That somebody like Mobutu could take this type of stance? I mean, it's unimaginable. And Prince Richard Ozob, what are they thinking? This type of things you do, and you make people, what do people wonder? They wonder whether somebody gave you money or something like that. Because it doesn't make sense that your place is being attacked, your place is under attack. And can Richard Ozobu please stop that attack of Fulani people then? Richard Ozobu, you said that Nwobodo is staying the right. Nwobodo, Senator Jim Nwobodo, can you please stop Fulani from attacking us? Can you provide security for us? So what are you defending? What is Nwobodo and Prince Richard Ozobu defending, for goodness sake? Or Guinea na-eme ụfọdụ ndị Igbo? Or Guinea na-eme ha n'isi? Evil forces do not just come simply by you see a fiend somewhere. No. It comes with this type of talk, this type of internalized belief of evil in you. You wonder, what sort of, who raised these people? How did they think? You know, this is not just a matter of you having different of opinion. This is a matter of supporting something, you know, that we know is heinous, which is the invasion of people's lands and killing and raping women. And it's not just in it happened all over Nigeria. How can this be defensible in any way, shape, or form by somebody whose senses are supposedly intact? There is something terribly wrong with this. And this is what we must, it is repulsive, it's reprehensible, it's reprovable, it's objectionable, it's obnoxious, and it must be condemned in its totality. Hold such a view that Fulanese have a right to stay in other people's land. And I've said they are Arabs. We're not talking about they're going back to Futajalom. They should go back to Arabia because they have ravaged the whole of North Africa. This Islamic religion ravaged the whole place. It's not enough. They are moving down. They can only not, they don't present civilization. All they present is, oh, this, that. Then they talk about Israel. You know, it hates, it myths, it is mything. When you hear them talk about Israel, you ask yourself, how do these people think? This is an age of information. They are supposed to access information about themselves and about themselves. You wonder what they're doing. Now you have scholars amongst them who are trying to modify Islam. Oh no, jihad is not violence. Jihad is a struggle of the mind. That's a complete lie. I don't want to use certain words on this. This is a complete lie. Go and use go and investigate jihad and what it is. It's about slaughtering infidels, that's all. Conquests. It's an imperialistic, expansionist, imperialistic ideology and doctrine of conquest of people who are not Muslims. So I would like to invite Amef Lukando to make some comments, because in the next 30 minutes, we will be closing down this broadcast. I would like, Amef Lukando is a veteran, fought in our war. He has a very interesting history as a person. And he's one of the pillars of the Radio Biafra International. So, and his contributions are always very valuable. Today, we are seeing Middle Belt coming to apologize for what they did. Other Nigerians to do Tondi. Other Nigerians to follow suit. If you do something to somebody, you say you're wrong. That's how civilization starts first. Because some people say, oh, you are saying Igbo people are always correct. You do the right thing. You don't want to say something is correct because you want to sound good. If you do it correctly, fine, we will applaud you, we will support, everybody will support you for doing what is right. But when you do what is wrong and you expect it to be right just because you want to you know, enjoy the joys of somebody who did what is right, it's not going to work that way. What is right is right, what is wrong is wrong. And people need to own their own actions, thoughts and actions. You're responsible for your thoughts and actions. Just Nigerians are responsible for what they did on the Igbo. Fulani are responsible for what they are doing right now. We can't go and blame somebody else for what Fulani is doing. No, we can't go and blame them for what Muslims are doing. No, tomorrow they'll say, oh, well, you are saying that you're right. No, we're human beings. We don't hate them because they are Muslims. No, because of the ideas they have within themselves, and they carry it out, and they refuse to question it. They refuse to think like human beings. They refuse to activate their conscience. That is what we hate. So, and we're saying that if that thing that is in you cannot stop you, you cannot stop yourself from being a threat to other people's lives, you know what is going to happen. I think that is very good.
Yeah, thank you very much, Amazimo. Hey, the good news about the Middle Belt people is something we should celebrate and thank God for. We need them very, very much. As we have gotten this, the Middle Belt people, I really want us to pray to God for the Southeast and the South to begin immediately to also cement whatever differences that had existed. And they existed because the Fulanis really played numbers of mouth. That's the area we are going to be focusing to be able to reach the South people. We are brothers and sisters, and nothing should divide us. Please, those are the areas. Once we get those areas, believe you me, we are good. The Southwest with their Omotekun and so on, they are doing okay. All right, but with the open confession and apology by the Middle Belt people, believe you me, let us propagate the information that every Igbo person, every former Southeastern person, everybody that is attached to Biafra, everybody that really wants peace should take in confidence that apology that was rendered by the Middle Belt people. I wrote a quick article on that yesterday in some other forums. We are going to expand it. Those of what I'm calling on Mazi Ikedigwe. Let him do whatever he has to do. Maza Nemena, let BRM champion and continue to propagate this information because we have long expected it. I remember about 4 years ago, 5 years ago, on this radio program, one of the Middle Belt young man who came on our radio station, he pleaded that they really have apologized and they really want to work with us. We are now saying it officially, and I'm glad, Mazi Moalo, you have also brought it out to the limelight. We have accepted them. The next thing is for us now to gradually begin to plan our strategy on how to flush out these Fulanis from our system. We must flush them out. And for me, from a military point of view, it has to be done in such speed that will overwhelm them. So that's gradually. So we are going to. Oh my God! Just play. Just a little bit of interruption. Just a minute, please.
Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.
Yeah, I'm back again, please. That's something that needed my attention. So please, what I'm saying is, we have to. This is. I mean, I celebrated yesterday when I read this. I was happy. I said the beginning, sir, the beginning of our freedom is around the corner. So that takes it. Let us now go back to the Fulanis and so on, because everything we are experiencing today hinges on the Fulanis of what they have done to our people centuries ago. The constant implantation of seed of discord amongst us is what has been in vogue for them. They have used it in confusing the whole of Nigerians that Nigerians cannot even work together. Our broadcast should focus on this all the time because I'm telling you, the moment we get the Fulanis out of our system, then we can have a constructive environment. That is the way it goes. You all know me. Everything I'm focusing is this Islamization agenda, and I had more also talked about modernization policy. This is something that people have not even been thinking about or even talking about. I personally, because I was born and bred in the Bukuru Jos area, Islamization agenda was unbelievable. We're talking about one Nigeria. But what happened? You are a stranger in your own country. I remember when we were taking an entrance examination into the entrance into getting into secondary school. You cannot believe it, but I have to say, because I don't talk so much, but certain things will trigger things that I have to say. That was when it was so obvious to my father that what is going on? Because Igbos were more interested in doing our businesses and so on, even though he was the secretary of the Igbo Union. It's like when such a thing, he believes, because whenever there's problems, they will always call my father to come to, rectify it. But I'm saying this, we took this exam, the whole of the northern region and everything. I came first out of the whole people that took the exam in the north. Do you know that they refused me an entrance into one of the secondary schools? That was when my father got angry, and that was how I went to Igbo Union Grammar School, Kavanchan. After everything has gone, my father had to take me there and say, well, his son must be admitted into, since the houses have refused us, he has to be admitted into an Igbo school. That was how I got into Igbo Union Grammar School, Kavanchan. My first choices were Gendry and St. Paul's, Zaria. Those are the schools in vogue in those days. It was how I got into Igbo Union Grammar School, Kavanchan. What I'm saying is the Islamization agenda, not an agenda, they are all together. It is important our people spread this information. Can we please come together? I am very, very concerned that what made me happy yesterday was the Middle Belt now saying we are together. The next one I want us to really work seriously on is the South people. I'm in contact with somebody over there so far. We have been working on that. Let us see what is going to happen. But there are so many intricacies. So BRM, we have to do whatever we can do. There's right now some groups that are trying to bring all the agitating together. Wherever they sign you in, put your name, because most of the time they call me and put my name. So I say, fine. Then I'll tell them our own philosophy, especially BRM. We have a philosophy, we have a vision, we have a direction, and we spread that. But we have to do this with absolute humility. In some of these forums right now, Nnamdi Kanu has been brought up to be discussed. And people are now coming to understand that Nnamdi Kanu is an obstacle to the progress of Biafra. Yeah, we are all writing. We are all writing boldly too. There is no question about that. We've come to the point we say, well, it has come to the point whereby we have to shift him by the side and move on. That's what we're going to be doing right now. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu cannot hold us back. The Fulani agenda is unbelievable. Why can't they go attack the Fulanis? It's all the time boasting of one thing or the other. Now the vogue is October 12th. Something is going to happen. October 12th. No plans, nothing. So anyway, there is nothing really to say that our problem is just the Fulanis. So as we are doing our things right now, let us see how we can, from an intellectual point of view, get all the nationalities in Nigeria to be involved in this fight, because we want to deal with the Fulanis with sophistication. Don't forget, according to Obasanjo, the Fulanis are only about 5 million to 7 million in Nigeria. What is the population of Nigeria? If we can work so hard and form very good alliance with all the nationalities that make up Nigeria, in a twinkle of an eye, we can take care of the Fulanis, get back the armory, get back the security, get back everything everything they have stolen from us. That's my objective, and that's how we're going to work with. But we cannot do this until we are together. It's not the assurance of before, we are together. No, it has to be documented, and all the stakeholders, we must make sure the stakeholders, the AZs, the Amana bonds, and so on, they have to be involved this time around. We are going to ignore the British because they are behind the Fulanis who are really, really messing with us. No, we must do our own part. We must do what we have to do to salvage ourselves and free our people and give liberty to our people. It's a shame what has happened in Nigeria. I was listening to Mazimo Alo talking about in Biafra, Africa died. I read that book. That, as a matter of fact, it was after I read that book some years ago that my anger was resurrected from the killing of my father and our losing the war and everything. It's pouring into actor. I'm still involved in it. That book needs to be read by anybody who wants to understand what the former Eastern region have gone through and what we experienced also during the war. Yeah. Anyway, so brethren, Mazi Mogalo, I really thank you for today's broadcast. You're an awesome man with our man Mazi and Nemena, and all the people who have contributed in bringing Biafra Restoration Movement. I'm very, very proud of you. As a matter of fact, in different forums now, right now, I took the opportunity to explain because they were trying to ask which one is BRL and BR. I took my time and explained BRL belongs to Nnamdi Kanu IPOB and BRM belongs to people who are very progressive. What we are doing right now, so we are going to focus on that. That's our mission. That's our vision. That's our direction and our trajectory. We must focus on this. This is time now to work very hard. Mwazike Digwe, I'm always telling you, you are doing a fantastic job. We love you. We will continue doing what you are doing. All of you, and I, you know how we distributed our job. Everybody do what you have to do and just, put it together. You know our mission, you know our vision, you know what we are supposed to be doing. We are going to put this together and go with God on our side. The message will reach out. The strategy of what the IPOB people have been doing by calling BRM saboteurs and everything is gradually fading away. The whole thing has turned around. It's like a boomerang right now on Mazen Namde Kano and his group. Eventually, very soon, because we are all writing right now, very seriously. Exchanges are going on. So continue doing what we are doing, BRM and Radio Biafra International. You're all doing a fantastic job. May God continue guiding us, leading us, and thanking Him again for the apology that has been rendered by the Middle Belt. We accept it. Thank you. Thank you, Mazin Mogalo. And as usual, the panelists, we love you. Thank you, and God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Mazi Amefulukando, for that speech. My fellow Biafrans, you had it. We love our people, irrespective of which organization they belong to. We must do so. Yeah, but if you feel somebody's making a mistake, well, call him out. And if there needs to be a debate, on any issues, we have it modestly. That way we can move on as a people. We don't all have to be under an umbrella. No, one umbrella. It don't have. There are so many things to do in a struggle. Just like you have different ethnic nations that constitute Biafra. Now the Middle Belt, most likely might join. Our people, like I said, the Igbo people, and our people are, as far as in Nazareth, indigenous. That is the point. I mentioned the Arago. The Arago comes from Idoma, in Nazarawa state. So they are Igbo people. But the reason why Idoma will tell you is not Igbo is because he has been given that label. Just like when you're given the label Nigeria, somebody gave you the name Nigeria, isn't it? And you saw how you defend Nigeria. So, well, I'm Nigerian. Well, who gave you the name? So once there's somebody gives you the name and you take it, that's it. So you say it's something, but when you go and check your ancestry, go and do your DNA with Igbo people. That is how you settle some of these things. So you can know what you're doing. Otherwise, you get confused. Somebody told you, just like we come and divide us, they say, oh, this is rivers, cross river. This is rivers, and the other one is crossing it. So, okay, yeah, where does the Efik come from? Come from Ibibio. We know the relationship between us and Ibibio. Do DNA tests. So you stop questioning. So you stop making yourself available for politicians from the north and the British colonist inquests, being effective in deceiving you. It is very important that you do that. Do a DNA test. Because I was somewhere and somebody from, I think Calabar was questioning me, so what is this Biafra thing? What is this Biafra? So you see, and you see how he put it, this Biafra thing. Can you see that? With lack of respect, is this Biafra thing. Somebody's telling me, what is this Nigerian thing? But I didn't choose to answer that. So I began to speak to her, sorry. And then ask a simple question, what is it that Biafrans did to you that is wrong? Can you mention one thing? She couldn't mention one thing. And people were looking, right? Not one. So Biafra has been victims of Nigeria. But I say I can give you an endless list here of what Nigeria has done to Biafra. Endless list. And we keep talking today. You know that. So I asked her a question. I said, why is it that the person who is a victim is the person you are blaming for something? It's amazing. But the perpetrator of the wrong, of violation against that victim, you don't blame the perpetrator, you blame the victim. And I asked him, and yet on Sunday you go to church, you say you're worshiping God, but you come out and support evil by supporting perpetrators of evil. Nigeria is it's an evil perpetrated on other people. Why support it? Why support it? Somebody is intimidating you because he claims he has the control of the army and the navy and the air force. So that makes the truth a lie and makes the lie the truth. No, stand with the truth. So I'm telling you, the truth will eventually win, and you would have been on the wrong side. That's how they always happen. Please check the history of humanity. God will destroy the evil that you're looking at. His time comes, he ends, as he will destroy every evil on this earth. And the time is coming when everything that is set up that is evil will not exist again. So let us be very careful what we do. Let's be very careful what we choose to stand for. To judge an issue is either right or it is wrong. It is not whether this person has arms and ammunition or not. Yeah. Because right and wrong, the right will eventually win. Even empires, that when they get evil, what do happen? Empire, in fact, imperialism itself is evil. So they end up collapsing, isn't it? They have internal problems that they collapse finally. Shows you that thing cannot stand for too long. It will come down. So with Nigeria, and he's already going down. So the idea of, you had Mazak Meflugan talked about, quota system had started a long time ago before it was even implemented as a government policy. It has started, right from the beginning. Fulani people, they rig election, they will do nothing. And they claim to be Democrat. That's the point. They come up and say, oh, I'm governor, I'm senator, I am prime minister, I'm president, I'm this and that. Oh, this is MP and this is MPC, Northern People's Congress, Northern this, Northern that. And then they, like Usman Danfodio said, sorry, not Usman Danfodio, the Sarano Sokoto said, he was quoting Usman Danfodio, that they will use the Christians in the north, to subvert the ones in the south until they conquer them. It's all about conquest. And after that conquest, what do they do with the places they conquer? They reduce them to poverty and all. That's what you're seeing right there in the north. That's what they will reduce us. So in terms of organization, I plead with our people to please organize, please talk. The fact that somebody doesn't agree with you don't necessarily make him your enemy. Mind that very carefully. The fact that somebody does not agree with you does not necessarily make the person your enemy. Because if you keep present them simply as saboteurs and so on, if anything happens to them, you may be wrong in your own assertion. and you will find yourself in a very bad situation. Because that person, for him, even Sabo, let's say somebody is Sabo, he needs to face trial. So Biafra is not going to be a place where, even if the revolt starts this morning, there are courts. You will go to court. People must be tried in courts, not just simply killed based on order. No. If you give that order that way, it will become dictatorial, and it may not go down well with the person. So, and people become to be afraid because they say, who is next? You see? Are they going to give orders on me to be killed now? So you cannot create an avenue where you can work in unison. There is a court. Let them go to court and try the person for sabotage, where there is cross-examination using the system and instruments of the law to try to examine every aspect of the case. After that, the judgment is delivered by the court. That is how it was done in Biafra, even during sabotage of Banjo. There's cross-examination, even by the people that are involved. They cross-examine themselves. That is how thorough it was, so that nobody would say, "Oh, somebody gave orders to kill somebody." So, but how do you do that? We have to work together. We have to understand that we have to agree, and there are places where we disagree, but we have to be connected. Connected in unison. That is very important. And it comes from those in Middle Belt, those in the so-called geographical area of South-South, So now we know all those places are simply Southeast. From Abo is Southeast. So like we say, like I said, Idoma is Igbo. These are people who came from our Do area, mixed up. Idoma, Igede, Iyala. You see how the names are sounding. Oh, just the same way. So, and there's a reason why they sound. Igala, Idoma, Igala, Igede, Iyala. See that? These are same people. Now, and all the way to Ibanke, Ibakre, in Edo State. They are Igbo people. Yeah, they are our people. Like I said, do DNA test with Igbo person next to you. That way, can help you settle some of these things you wanted. But the British, since they came in, they've been dividing us into, they will even look at, and when they give you an identity, that's the point. You ask yourself, who am I? Because by also finding who you are, it will help you to know how to respond to other, to manipulations by others. Your enemy, a foreigner, comes and gives you a name, you take it. Nigeria will divide us up. This is Imo, this is Anambra, this is Abia. Let's say, oh, I'm Abia, this is Imo, I'm Anambra, I'm this and that. They give you these identities and you run with it. That is why they're able to manipulate all of us and put us in the condition we are in. So, what is different between Igbo in Abakaliki and Igbo from Ibanke? Why should there be that difference? Why should there be a difference between Igbo from Abo and Igbo in Igala? Why should there be a difference between Igbo from Abavo and Igbo in Ikwere? They are Igbo people. So what is the problem? And if you want to, your traditional names, the traditional names we have, Ijo, this, that, fine, of course, we'll keep them. Ogoni. You keep the law, you keep your names. Nobody's taking it away from you. We're not colonists, we're not imperialists. Their friends are not that at all. And the resources in your land, you keep it. What else do you want? That resource, that oil in your land, you keep it. You want the Fulani to come and take it, as you've been taking it for the past 60-something years? Is that what you prefer? Why prefer that? You keep your resources. And it's because we did not unite together with the Middle Belt. That's why we're suffering. And eventually you can see that there is religious incursion, religious aggression, religious conquest campaign that is against us as a people. It's against the Christians. Churches being destroyed and so on. Even in the north, you have IGPs everywhere. Internally displaced persons camps everywhere in the north. Millions of people. And they still take advantage of it, go there and kill them, starve them, do all kinds of things. Foreign organizations, humanitarian organizations, will offer food and aid. They will go and they will offer them money, or they will go and sell the things and put money in the pocket and leave the people to die. That is the same thing we're seeing today. Look at them, the guy who was assassinated I call it assassination. That's what they've done in Benue State. Forgotten his name. I've forgotten his name, but I remember it. You know who I'm talking about. Now, this guy used to work politicians, was involved in different kinds of unlawful activities and so on and so on. Then he began to fight for his people. They took him out and arrested because they convinced them through the governor to ask for amnesty, that they should come to ask for amnesty. And it's the Fulani that got Suswan. Sorry, not Suswan. The current governor of Benue State. Autumn. Yes, sorry. Yeah, Governor Autumn. It's them that would convince him to get these people to come for this. Because what they will do is that they will use something they know those people may want. That's how Fulani works. That's how deceivers and devilish people work. They use something they know you want to place you in a place that will get you, which is what they just did. There's coming for that to receive the amnesty. They will let them do it. And they shot the man dead because they wanted him dead first. Ghana is the name, yes. Ghana is the name of that man. They shot him dead extrajudiciously. How many Fulani people have been shot dead? But Fulani is killing people everywhere. And you have this man coming there to do a broadcast, this military officer coming there to do a broadcast as if a victorious broadcast of how they killed Ghana. That is how shameless these people are. They are criminals in uniform. Criminals. You need to watch out for them. Nigerians, those of you who claim to be in Nigeria, watch out. Christians, watch out for them. Because this type of thing is terrible. And they took those people to where we don't know. The rest of them that they might kill them somewhere and dump their bodies. That's what they've been doing to Biafran groups. They kill people and go and bury their bodies in the bush. They remove the corpses, because you see, they leave the corpses there when they've done the killing. People will see it. There'll be more outcry and outrage against it. So what they developed the tactics of removing the bodies when they kill. So they kill our people and remove the bodies and go and bury them in mass graves. Some of them pour acids on them. That is the hatred in these people. They are evil. They are evil. Why should anybody ever want to strike a compromise with this type of evil? And this is what our people are suffering. They go and destroy the farms, rape our women, rape them literally. Can you imagine? And somebody is supporting this? A human being. Somebody is a human who has conscience, is supporting this. This is horrible. We should not in any way, shape, or form support this in any way, shape, or form. We will come to a close of this broadcast quite quickly. All right, I'd like Mazi Chukwusekedigwe to give us his closing remarks on the issues at hand, so that we will.
Okay, thank you very much. The other time, I don't know what happened. Far closed. The network must have played a part in it. Thank you. To bring this wonderful broadcast to a close, we must understand something. Let me start by even thanking, at least let's even talk about the middle belters. It's wonderful that they at last, final, they've been able to open their mouth to ask for forgiveness. I know they must have been nursing that feeling that they did bad, but until you say something, it's not registered. Even if you carry it in your mind for several years, it doesn't count. We have to say it out. So at least we understand the fact that they've said it, that they've apologized. It's good, but not just the matter of apology. They must take systematic actions to really show that they're really sorry, for what they've done, and that includes telling some of their sons and daughter who has always poked it on our face on how they murdered our people, to at least tone down on their pokings. People like T.Y. Danjuma is always very proud to tell you how they decimated our people, how they killed our people at every point in time. He tells us what Nigeria, that they fought to keep this country together, and therefore the country must remain united. He keeps saying it with reckless abandon. These people must actually put it on him. They must also make sure that they put it on this their son who are very proud of this thing to tone down on that, or at least stop it final, because you can't be using one hand to tell me your story and then you're using another hand to celebrate victory that was all about murdering innocent people who were armed for no reason. Okay. And if they're really sorry, it's time for them to also stand up. Most of the time when evil happen in the middle belt, it's we in the southeast that carries it. It's we Biafrans are even we speak more than them, that even the APC party will be accusing us of talking more than the brave. They accuse us of you are complaining more than even the brave. So sometimes that they come in and I also learn to speak about the murderous killing of our people, because it's time they must show it. If you are really sorry, speak out against the killing of our people. Just will always be speaking out against the killing of your innocent farmers, women, and children. So that's how to create a balance. And if it becomes mutual, we can take it greater height and work in various aspects that we can free ourselves. It's all about freeing ourselves. We also recognize the fact that finally they've been able to separate themselves from the Arewa Consultative Forum by forming their own regional consultative assembly where they can talk. It's wonderful, because we've always wondered, why will you say and every other thing you are doing it with the North? You are in the Arewa Consultative Forum, you are in the Northern Governors Forum. When it comes to issues that has to do with the regions, you always support the North. In the National Assembly, their senators are always voting in favor of the North. So let's see if there will be change. Until this happens, we are still watching to see if they can really change, as in work the apologies, as in work it out, okay? Not just say it, must work it out, must convince your elected officials, but you have to, as in to take um a definite line now, not what has used to be before. There must be changes now. Act your own way, work your apologies, and we'll meet at the other place. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Master Chuksi Hedigbe. You have been a wonderful support to this broadcast and to the necessary information that is important to get across to our people, and to the campaign for freedom for our people, freedom which is inalienable right of every man, every breathing human being on earth. Thank you so much. We appreciate that. We'd like to call Mazi Amefulukando to give us his closing remarks. Um, we are closing a little bit earlier today. And next broadcast, we should be able to maximize our usual 3 hours of broadcast. Mazi Amefulukando.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mazi Mongalo. I want to add something to what Mazi Kediwe just said. We have to be very, very careful. Okay? The middle belt has already come out to apologize and do what they have to do. It behooves us right now to get things together. And to be honest with you, that is why we have been working on this for a very long time. Because every one of us has something he's doing towards getting Biafra. And that's why when people like when the IPOB and their leader, make statements, I don't waste time to challenge them immediately. We have to be very careful. Even in challenging somebody, we have to choose the word. For the past week, it has been a kind of exchange, but in a very, very, very subtle manner, bringing out the main issue so that we can, because you see, uh, there are certain ways to get things done. Choice of words mean a whole lot. Let's say T.Y. Danjuma right now, yes, once in a while, I would say about a month ago, he made that statement, what Mazi Kedigo was talking about. I was shocked also when I read what he was talking, with arrogance about how they killed the Ironsi and everything. I wasn't happy about it, because this is a man that we have been with their people being killed the way they are killed, and him asking everybody to pick up arms to be able to defend themselves. I wasn't expecting those kinds of statements. Be that as it may, we have to just be very careful. And thank God their people have really shown him at least so that he will checkmate himself. He's one man, even though he has the money, all the money that they have acquired from distributing the oil wells amongst themselves. That's okay. We are expecting that in due time he's going to bring that money for us to get to, do what we have to do. So that's another level. We don't want to talk about that. So I really want us. Our message should be okay to celebrate this unity that has been now accepted, this unity and the confession that has been made that we have accepted it, and let it be the beginning of our coming together. So I'm charging our people, however we're going to do that. Get if it is getting one or two leaders from each of the agitating groups, mix it up with our people at home to form a very good unit and Ohaneze, all of them, let them come together and really go to say thank you to the people of Middle Belt. We have accepted the apology and we are all going to walk out together. Then all the security aspects and everything has to do so much work. And it bothers me when people are still believing that getting our freedom is just going to be something to be done by one man. And that's why I totally disagree with Mazen Namdekano by not trying to cooperate with other groups. It doesn't matter who initiates any move for peace to reign, for us to come together. The important thing is let us go there and listen first to what the person or persons have to say, and you have opportunity to express your own views there. That's how we are operating. And that's why I'm very, very proud of a BRM, what we are doing on Radio Biafra International. This is an astute radio station and the Biafra movement group that I'm so proud of, because we are dealing with intelligentsia, people who have some thinking faculty in them. That's what we're doing. So I'm in total in support of Mazi Ikedigwe for what he has said. Yeah, we are going to be very cautious. We don't give in to anything. Yes, you say something, then we are going to test it. If it is the president of America, Ronald Reagan, he said to the Russians, I believe you, but it has to be subject to verification. It is important that when somebody says he apologizes for something, then you have to verify the apology. That's the next step we are going to take. Once we verify that, then we can now start talking about military strategies, political strategies, religious strategies, and everything put together to be able to say, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. And I believe, I'm a student who believe that when you distribute labor, it becomes easy. When you discuss your views, people you might be very surprised to get ideas and answers to your problem. So that's why I am very an open person. I'm very, very focused on whatever I want to do. I don't care whatever it is coming. I will listen and I will gradually provide my own information. That's what we're doing in our radio station and the BROM. We are going to be doing it like that, and we are going to be part and parcels of the solution to our problem. Just like yesterday, somebody was writing in one of the forums, was talking about the difference between RBL and RBI. I took my time to explain it clearly. So that's why I said all of us are doing different things in different areas. There are so many forums or fora that are being formed now. And when you listen to them, they all have some reasonable ideas. And we are open to them. At the appropriate time, we all share everything. But just don't forget, the enemy of Nigeria is the Fulanese, backed by the British. And let us all remember that we cannot count on the Western world or Arab world or any of them to solve our problem. Let us be together. Let us be Then we are going to overcome their tricks and treachery. May God bless BRM, bless Radio Biafra International, bless members of the communication team, bless the panelists, bless each and every one of us who are listening to what we are delivering, because we have message of truth. May God guide us, may God direct us, and victory is definitely ours. Thank you, Mazi. More, God bless. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, our own Hamef Lukando, for that closing remarks. Dear friends, we thank you for listening, and we thank our listeners who are not dear friends, other places, other parts of the world. Always remember, for the Biafrans I'm addressing, that we have to be very resolute in this, because there is no other option really as to how to attain our freedom except to fight for it. We don't have any other option. Anybody who knows any other option, please let us know. We would like to know. We will appreciate it and appreciate your wisdom. So we're doing what we know to do, which is to fight for freedom. That is the only path to be free from oppression. The oppressor must be stopped. If you don't stop him, he will continue doing what he's doing. It's as simple as that. And that is what Biafrans are doing. So we thank you today. I thank the panelists, and I thank our main anchor for RBI, a man whom without you wouldn't be, this station would not be functioning at all. Our own Leo Anemena, an expert in communication and information technology, and has a very wonderful qualification for that as well. And we appreciate him and his efforts. It's for the love of his people and for the love of God. So from me, Odi Moalo, I'll say good day and keep up the good works. Thank you. God bless you.
Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.
Yes, this is not a matter of debate. All we want is Biafra people.
All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. Oh Lord, my God. Oh Lord, my God. We need our freedom. We need our peace to reign. We need our freedom. We need some peace to reign. Killing and fighting everywhere. We need some peace to reign. Some peace everywhere. Brother do not know his brothers anymore. Let us keep our heads together as one. Peace to reign. Oh Lord, my God. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra.
Let them make on the beat.
All we want is freedom.
I am here calling you, oh Lord, praying to you, singing to you, oh Yahushua, because they made us slaves in our own land. I can remember once upon a time in the Bible where the Israelites used songs and prayers to play down the wall of Jericho. This is the kind of miracle we need for our freedom. We know you can answer us as you answer Israelite the days of their slavery in Egypt. They might shoot us, they might kill us, bloodshed everywhere. Give us Biafra, give us freedom. Oh Lord, Yahushua, I call upon you.
My God. Oh Lord, my God. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom. All we want is Biafra. All we want is freedom.
Biafra is proud to launch its new mobile app. This app makes it easier for listeners to access live and repeat broadcasts at any given time. The app is available on Android and Apple stores and is free to install, so just search for Radio Biafra into all one word to get the app on your device.
Radio Biafra International broadcasts are always anchored on well-researched information and not based on personalities, frivolities, and foul languages. The main objective of Radio Biafra International is to empower Biafrans and give them knowledge through professionally delivered information, education, and enlightenment towards the ultimate goal of restoration of the nation of Biafra.
So don't forget, Radio Biafra into all one word.
And join us during our podcasts, and you'll be glad you did.
Jamasa 2020. I think champion who back on when on the before you became with you. Because when you stay safe, wherever the coronavirus money from what they say about living now. What can you get the idea? I want to know before you became with you.
Truer words were never spoken. The less you associate with some people, the more your life will improve. Anytime you tolerate mediocrity in others, it increases your mediocrity. An important attribute in successful people is their impatience with negative thinking and negative acting people. As you grow, your associates will change. Some of your friends will not want you to go on. They will want you to stay where they are. Friends that don't help you climb will want you to crawl. Your friends will stretch your vision or choke your dream. Those that don't increase you will eventually decrease you. Consider this. Never receive counsel from unproductive people. Never discuss your problems with someone incapable of contributing to the solution, because those who never succeed themselves are always first to tell you how. Not everyone has a right to speak into your life. You are certain to get the worst of the bargain when you exchange ideas with the wrong person. Don't follow anyone who's not going anywhere. With some people, you spend an evening. With others, you invest it. Be careful where you stop to inquire for directions along the road of life. Wise is the person who fortifies his life with the right friendships. If you run with wolves, you will learn how to howl. But if you associate with eagles, you will learn how to soar to great heights. A mirror reflects a man's face, but what he is really like is shown by the kind of friends he chooses. The simple but true fact of life is that you become like those with whom you closely associate, for the good and the bad. Note, be not mistaken. This is applicable to family as well as friends. Yes, do love, appreciate, and be thankful for your family, for they will always be your family, no matter what. Just know that they are human first, and though they are family to you, they may be a friend to someone else and will fit somewhere in the criteria above. In prosperity, our friends know us. In adversity, we know our friends. Never make someone a priority when you are only an option for them. If you are going to achieve excellence in big things, you develop the habit in little matters. Excellence is not an exception, it is a prevailing attitude.
Radio Biafra International, empowering the people.